I learned everything just by singing and being out there. I know my first bar gig was when I was 16. And I was singing.
In Colorado?
Yeah, in Colorado and Texas. And, and then when I came to New York, I fell in love with Marion's, AC's dad, Marion. And so in order to secure a woman's position in the music profession, I suggested that we sing together. So, that I wouldn't be home after having a whole career in music, that I wouldn't be home babysitting. We sang together for 14 years, and we had a really wonderful, it was in the right time because a lot of the jazz masters and innovators were coming back to New York in the early 80s in New York City. And they were coming back from Europe and all over, and you can see and hear all of them at your fingertips. And we had the pleasure of singing at the Blue Note many, many times. And I remember one night there was Johnny Hartman and Billy Eckstine, Leonard Henderson Ross, Bill Jackson, Earth Kit, and and I sang. For those amazing people, Dizzy Gillespie, Carmen McRae, Sarah Vaughan, we sang for them and on jazz festivals with them, and so that was how I learned everything. I used to ask a lot of questions, and then later, 1991, we got discovered by Kiyoshi Koyama from, he was the editor of Swing Journal in Japan. And he signed Marion and I into a record deal with MRC Phillips in 1991. And we had our band was Kenny Barron, Eddie Gomez, Al Foster, and Gary Bartz, and Marion. So we recorded 2 albums, and we did big band albums with Clark Terry, who was a dear friend of ours, and we did some work with Frank Foster. We did a lot of recordings with his big band, which haven't yet been released.
Wow.
But we have them on the 2-track tape. So it's been wonderful. And then unfortunately, 97, everything kind of came to a halt. I guess Marion and I's personal life fell apart, so did our careers. The music was sustainable, so I started writing my own music and performing, playing the piano and singing. And I was recorded by George Clinton from P-Funk. He produced a couple of some of my music. And just recently, I was in LA recording with Jake Sinclair from Panic at the Disco, the producer, and Brendan Urie, who is the singer on Panic at the Disco, actually is playing the drums on my session. So that was exciting. So, music, as long as you stay devoted to being creative and being excellent and always reaching for that next, note to put on the paper, and to have the yearning to express yourself, which has been saving my life for almost 67 years. So I really appreciate that, and I appreciate, my son, AC Lincoln, who's always very supportive, and if you need a pep talk, you can call him. He's really good at that. He's really good at pep talks. When you're down, down and out, and I'm laying on the floor, crying eyes.
Did you start your daughter to sing?
Yeah, and then, Emily King is her name. She's a 4-time Grammy-nominated artist.
Yeah.
And in high school, she wanted to quit high school, so we called a family meeting. And called a family meeting. I was like, you want to quit high school where you have to have a plan because you can't just do nothing? She said, well, I want to do music like you. And I said, oh my God, okay. I was like, oh please.
Oh no.
Oh God. So I said, well, okay, well then you gotta play an instrument. You gotta find an instrument that you like, and you gotta play an instrument, and you gotta write songs because you know you can only make music really with the royalties with writing songs. So I got her a teacher, Steve Bloom. This is a really good, really great teacher. He came to the house once a week, and he was teaching her songs on the guitar from Red Hot Chili Peppers. And that's how she learned how to play the guitar. And then I told her, if she gives me 10 songs, write me 10 songs, I'll give you a gig at the bitter end on Bleecker Street. And so she wrote me 10 songs. And at the time, I had a recording studio in my kitchen, you know, a home studio. One of my my boyfriends gave me some money. That's funny. I'm laughing because there's a lot of history done now. Okay, so anyway. Oh, shit. Okay. So yeah, she demoed some of her songs there. And so I was in my 40s at the time, and I just recorded my first album, solo album with music and poetry and everything. I was really happy about it. So I was like shopping it around, you know, called ASCAP, and got me a representative and shit. So I was like, oh yeah, woo, I'm gonna have a career now after all these years, you know. So anyway, I won't name his name because I already busted his chops a lot of times for this. But anyway, he said, when I went to him, he said, man, this is great. This is really great. You should be really proud of this album. But you know what? You're too old. That's what he told me. Yeah, so I said, oh, I'm too old? Okay, but I have somebody that you're gonna love. And so I introduced him to Emily. And so then all of a sudden all the wolves started coming to the door. And so then I had to stop what I was doing and manage all the wolves coming to the door. And then she got signed with J Records and Clive Davis when she was like 16 or 17 years old. So it was you know, it's been a real spiritual awakening, you know, this whole time, you know, and basically, like, life turned out better than I could have ever planned it, and that's what it is to, like, follow your intuition and to always do the right thing even when it feels bad for yourself. So that's it.
Give Miss Kim Gillespie another one. Before we have a break. You feel like one more?
Yeah, sure.